Thanks so much. Really happy to be here. I'm going to be talking to you about brand strategy. We launched our new one a couple of weeks ago, and I come from the Ministry for Foreign Affairs, where we do the operational work for the Finland Promotion Board. I'll show you a couple of basic facts about how we're organized, so you'll have a better idea of what I'm talking about. So in Finland, we have a network-based model for country brand work, and that means that the Prime Minister appoints a board, the Finland Promotion Board, and we have people from public administration there. We've got companies, private companies, we've got the third sector also represented, and all of these people come together, talk about it, and then go back to their own organizations and work on, for example, sector-specific promotion there. And then the operational work, as mentioned, is done at the Ministry for Foreign Affairs, which is then where I work. But I'm going to be talking to you about how we came up with our new brand strategy, and I will try and be brief because I would love to hear from you as well. Questions are always the way to new thinking. So the first step towards our new strategy was just taking stock of what we have. So our previous and also first brand strategy was from 2017. Prior to that, there had been a big project in 2010 with a lot of stakeholders just coming up with what Finland is about. So all different sectors came together and talked about like what Finland actually is. What are we good at? What do we think? What are our values? And so on. So that work done in 2010, which was really extensive, it really helps us still. Of course, the world has changed, but places essentially don't change that much, not that quickly. But looking at the 2017 strategy, it was definitely a time to do an upgrade. Our thinking has gotten a lot better since 2017, and our priorities have also changed a little bit. And while we were assessing our old strategy, we of course also looked at a lot of research. So what does research say about different aspects of Finland and the brand and perceptions, brand finance, of course, being an important data set for this work as well. After taking stock, we wanted to hear from experts for two reasons. Firstly, the people in the Finland Promotion Board are not all professional country brand people, so we wanted all of them to also get the news from what is going on in the country branding world. So we had 3 different experts from different companies working globally on brands who had a short session with our board, talking about what they think matters when writing a strategy, what they think is going on globally that we should be aware of, how they perceive the brand and what they would recommend for us. We then took all of this, all of the research, the experts' opinions, and we had a board retreat. And you can't do much in Finland without also having a sauna. So that was included with a dip into the icy river. It was really late in the year. But at the board retreat, we looked at some specific questions. These are the first ones. So first of all, a look in the mirror, like what does Finland stand for? What are our values? We talked about that a lot. We didn't want to define Finnish values as such, but we wanted to talk about what Finland values. Then, an important question for any kind of strategy, are there contradictions between these values and then sectors working on something specific or political decision making? So obviously, even if something were to be really important for us, if, for example, in the current political climate, things were done to maybe undermine it or going in a different direction, that would not be a smart bet. Then our strengths and perceptions. What are we genuinely good at? So we had to look at all kinds of data to understand what we excel at. So we obviously want to be authentic and true to who we are and not try and say that we are really excellent at palm trees and sandy beaches, because that is not entirely true. And then perceptions. So what are the perceptions already associated with Finland? That's where, for example, the brand finance data came in really handy. More questions. How can we stand out from comparable countries? I always love speaking together with Sweden because Sweden is probably the most similar country to Finland. So we always look to Sweden like, okay, they're now doing this, they're leaning on this, so we probably shouldn't be doing the exact same thing. It's always possible to do the exact same thing because we are that similar, but we try and do something a little bit different. Well, it didn't feel funny at the time, but now it's quite funny. Sweden released their new brand strategy about half a year before ours, and their title for the strategy, Space to Grow, was one of our, word for word, one of our main points from our upcoming strategy. So it was like back to the drawing board then, I guess. Space to Grow is out of the question since Sweden took it. But yeah, which area of country image can we own? That's the important question. People don't have a lot of room in their brains for a lot of countries, and we need to have a message that they already somehow maybe associate with Finland, something that it's easy for them to at least learn to associate with Finland. And then meaning and value to others. I feel this is the most important point. So there's no point in looking in the mirror and telling people who we are and what we stand for if other people can't gain from it somehow. So what can we offer to others? What makes us interesting? And above all, what makes us relevant? So after the board retreat and multiple rounds of sauna, the writing and commenting started. So I can now reveal that the price for the strategy project was less than 10,000 euros, and that's including all of the expert talks and everything else that we paid for, the renting out of the sauna and so on. So we did the writing in-house. We didn't have a consultant or any sort of expert doing it. The comments rounds were mainly the Finland Promotion Board organizations, member organizations. We had our ambassadors' comments. We had our press councils around the world comments. We also did small roundtable conversations with, for example, people who had moved to Finland, who had more of an outside look into Finland, and talked with them about what we were up to. After a couple of rounds of writing and comments, we did a survey. So we picked out some themes from what we'd been working on and put them into a public survey for the Finnish people or any international people with an interest in Finland. We got over 1,000 answers, which we felt was really good for that type of survey. And we just wanted to see in percentages how supported our messages were. So, for example, we put claims to them such as Finland is a safe place to live, or something more to do with values. Trust is a central value in the Finnish society, and so on. So we wanted to form those questions in a way where we wouldn't necessarily pose claims that were so controversial that we would get low percentages. We tried to pose them in a way that if someone didn't agree, we would get more of a zero result than a negative result. But as it turns out, the lowest percentage out of all of the questions that we had was still above 80%. People were really unified behind those claims and ideas that we had been working with for the strategy. Most answers were around 90+% agreement. And then our weakness that we know from brand finance studies, that we know from other studies as well, is Finnish brands and companies. We don't have a lot of known brands and companies, and even those that we do have, people don't necessarily associate with Finland. So there we got about an 80% agreement on Finland has good companies and brands internationally. We're planning on, well, first of all, this was for our work, so that we have buy-in in Finland as well, that we know that Finnish people will stand behind the strategy when it's published, because there's nothing more unfortunate than publishing a strategy that the actual people of the country don't agree with. So we wanted to make sure that that doesn't happen, but also it's for communications purposes. So we are able to say that Finnish people really stand behind these ideas and values. Some more writing and comments. The whole process took from the retreat in 2024, late 2024, and now publishing it early 2026 or in the spring. That's how long I was really unhappy and writing constantly. But finally, we got to the strategy. And as you can see from this process, there is a complete lack of political guidance of any kind. So at no point did we go to our ministers or any politicians to see what they wanted. At no point did we even inform them during the process that this is what we were up to. We informed them sometime before the launch of the strategy. And this is, I think, one of the greatest strengths in Finnish country brand work. It is not politically led. It doesn't change from government program to government program. We get to do the overarching work of what a country is and what a brand is and what's important for us. And then we pick whatever fits from the current government program and lead with those things. But there is no politicians who get to say that, well, in my opinion, we should do this, and then we would have to do that against our better judgment, against research, or against the longer perspective. So this is what we came up with. How we did it, however, was with the correct font, so that it looked a bit better. But still, making happiness happen is the tagline that we settled on. A short survey here. How many of you have heard about Finland being the happiest country in the world for 9 years now in a row? So this was our starting point. This is something that people already knew, and people are quite curious to know why that is. I would be happy to have another presentation sometime for you to talk about that, but now you'll just have to take their word for it. I'm going to go through the entire strategy. That's how short it is. You will get to see every single line of the strategy in this presentation. For the first time, we had sort of an opening speech for the strategy that explained why country brand work is important, why we do it. We're mentioning diplomacy, trade, travel, talent attraction, but also in good times, it opens doors. In challenging times, it offers protection. And this has become more and more important also in our region. And then we're talking about why a brand strategy is important for us. So we want to have consistent messaging and across the board alignment nationally. We're not a big country. We don't have a lot of spokespeople in global media. So then when we do say something, it would need to be on message so that it can be repeated and people will get the idea. Luckily, our president, Alexander Stubb, currently is doing an excellent work as a brand ambassador, always hitting the contraband points as well in everything that he does. We're really lucky to have him with our new brand strategy. So we are helping to support and guide both promotion and policy. The word guide is also there for the first time. So we are hoping to also guide promotion and policy with our brand strategy. And the whole strategy is 6 points. We are positioning Finland as a country that makes happiness happen, both at home and internationally. And presenting the 6 points to you, the first one is our core message. We wanted to pack together all of the things that we feel makes Finland Finland, the things that were so important to everyone that we talk to. Trust, equality, freedom, functionality. In Finland, life is well designed for living, solutions are smart and sustainable, and people have the space and permission to be themselves. This was something that came up over and over again. In Finland, you don't have to be something that other people think that you should be. You don't have to perform. You can just be yourself. And that was such a strong message for us that we really wanted to emphasize that. And this altogether is how happiness happens. It's not by accident, but it is by design. And then, what does Finland value? Equality and freedom, trust and reliability, creativity and curiosity, nature and balance. And I've been now touring this new strategy, especially within the Finnish audiences, and all I get is nods. Not once has anyone said that this doesn't somehow feel like Finland, or I don't feel like this represents me. We are quite unified behind these values. And in the strategy, we also want to assist people in using what's been written down here. So frame what Finland offers as people first, purposeful, made to support both everyday life and innovative ideas. So we're sort of helping people know what to do with this. So this is the framework that we want to be putting these things into. What Finland offers, obviously the hardest one. So we would now need to put into words for a really wide range of people using this strategy some of the things that Finland offers. So we can't go, Finland offers health tech, because that's of no use to so many companies, so many ministries, so many sectors. That's too specific. So what do we say? We wanted to try and find these umbrella terms that would then serve a lot of different sectors. So responsible real-world impact is one thing. Simplicity, surprise, and sauna, obviously. That's definitely something that we offer. Freedom to grow, not space to grow, mind you, Sweden. Freedom to grow, very different. And then tools for what's next. So a future-oriented mindset. And most fields, sectors, actors go under some of these themes quite easily. And then again, show these values in action, not just in words, but in how things are done. That's really important to us. How Finland communicates. We've got our points 4 and 5 are just instructions on how to get your message across, how we want to be perceived, what our tone of voice is. We are always honest and approachable. That's really important to pretty much anyone who does communications in Finland. We need to be honest. There's absolutely no point in trying to spin things. With character, always. We try and not to be dull. Substance over spin. We want to be informative. We want to be useful. We want to have a purpose. And then with many voices. So it's not just one story. It's diverse people, perspective, and places. What I really like about this point is dare to be playful, because I think that's an important instruction, especially to ambassadors, especially to people who are really used to gaining something out of being really serious and not showing emotion or their playful side in any way. And I find that rarely gets your point across better. I think when you evoke some sort of an emotion, when you have a bit of a playful edge to what you're doing, it usually makes the message more memorable. Then, how does Finland connect? By telling real stories with culture that resonates, by making it relevant and through collaboration. Out of these points, the culture point was sort of a new direction for us. In the old strategy from 2017, culture was not mentioned once. And that was one of the things that we wanted to rectify with the updated brand strategy. Culture creates meaning, it builds recognition, helps Finland connect emotionally. We have quite low recognition, and that is directly due to, for example, us not having big pop stars or movie stars or commercial consumer brands or things that people connect with emotionally. We have good work-life balance and good benefits for families and so on, but those are not things that stick to your mind and make you imagine something. So we are trying to add culture to what we do whenever we can. Create connection by inviting, not insisting. I think that's an important point. Moving on to the final page of the strategy, we wanted to talk to the people who will be using the strategy and those people who didn't know that they would be using the strategy but will be doing so anyway. So first of all, make it personal. You want to build on the shared story, but you want to make it your own. And then make an impression. Every encounter is a chance to get Finland's message across. How we act shapes the way Finland thinks about us. This was my way of trying to write, don't be an idiot when you're abroad, and make sure that you don't ruin our reputation. But I think I made it sound a bit nicer. Make it real. So show people how Finland's perspective helps you either work better or connect more meaningfully or just have a better life. Like, what is it about Finland that helps you personally? You are the proof. And then make the most of it. These values, these stories, all of this is for every individual, for example, Finnish company or anyone working on anything really, to just help you get your message across better. You can use what Finland offers you and then make the most of it. Telling Finland's story is a shared responsibility and a shared opportunity. We know Finland and what it stands for, so it's up to us to tell it right. And this point here, again, has a lot to do with what the world is like today, what the political climate is, what's happening internationally. There is always someone who is willing to tell Finland's story, but in the case of Finland, it should be us, Finland, telling the story and not someone else. So it is a shared responsibility as well. I have a video that we quite hastily put together for the launch of the strategy from existing materials, but I think that it turned out really well. And when I've been showing this to Finnish people, again, there's been a lot of nodding, there's been some emotion as well. People feel like this is what Finland feels like. So let's see your reaction to it.
Take a deep breath. Exhale. Happy? Good. In Finland, happiness isn't complicated. It's as natural as breathing. Not because of some happy accident, but because we made it that way. Happiness happens when it's designed into everyday life. when things are done in ways that build trust. Shaped to connect us. Planned with equality. Created with curiosity. In a place that inspires and encourages. A space where everyone can be themselves. Where ideas matter more than titles. Where there's room to breathe freely. In your own rhythm. Just like breathing is part of our design as humans, happiness is part of our design as a nation. We are Finland, and we make happiness happen.
What do you think? A feeling of Finland? Maybe? Okay, getting back to the slides. The Finnish brand strategy is there for anyone to download and take a look at. Please feel free to do that. I'll leave that up for a moment. And then it's time for my final slide, and let's see what time it is. And some questions, hopefully, or comments. But I'm warning you, if the question is, why is Finland so happy? It's going to be another at least 10 slides. So maybe not that this time. Here's my final slide, kiitos. And if you want to read more about what Finland is up to branding-wise, or just generally my thoughts on country branding, you can get the newsletter there as well. Thanks so much.
I actually have a question. Congratulations on the strategy and
Thank you.
fantastic presentation. Thank you. I have a question about what's next, and that's sort of a segue to the next session when we're going to be talking about implementation and stewardship of place brands. What is the actual plan for now implementing the strategy? Who are you talking to? What are they going to be doing with the strategy, and how are they going to be using it? And then what sort of governance structure are you setting up for the future to make sure that the strategy actually keeps on being used beyond a year or two, or your involvement in whatever it is that you're currently doing within the ministry?
A good question, and something that I was meant to say a couple of words about, but forgot, ready to admit that. So we are now talking to all of the different representatives of different sectors. For example, we've now talked to everyone in education, universities and so on. We've been talking to companies, we've been talking to different sectors and audiences, telling them about the strategy, that it exists, what it entails, and having conversations about how they feel they will be able to make use of it. And our structure, as with the Finland Promotion Board being a network-based approach, I think that is a really good way of ensuring that people think about the strategy and use the strategy, because we have those people from all of the different sector-specific organizations. We meet 4 times a year, and then we have a task force of actual communications people also, who meet 4 times a year. So in those meetings, we can always check up on what everyone's been doing and plan for the next year and so on. We do joint planning as well together with all of the different organizations. So as long as that structure exists, it helps us push the strategy forward, and then also get the feedback on whether or not there's something there that doesn't work, that needs to be changed. Why, for example, Business Finland isn't using it as much as they could, and so on. So if there are any problems, that's also a really good forum to try and fix those issues. Anyone else? Comments?
Yes, sorry. Thank you for the presentation again.
She also said amazing work.
Yeah, amazing work. So I am actually part of Brand Czechia team, and we are trying to establish Brand Czechia that hasn't existed before. And so I was interested in your approach with the politicians, because that is something now very present for us because we have to actually focus a lot on the buy-in from the political representation. So I just wanted to ask you a little bit more about this, like were you already sure that there will be some buy-in and that there will be cooperation from the politicians, or at least not like attacking from them or like any political debate from their side that would affect your implementation of the strategy? Thank you very much.
Thank you. A really good question. Finnish politicians are Finns as well, so we already know how Finns respond to the strategy, which is really well. In the questions that I showed you, we wanted to steer clear of any controversial topics that a certain political party might take offense to. So we wanted to sort of ring fence the strategy at that point and make sure that no one can say that this word is now in the document, so obviously that's not according to our political ideal or ideas and so on. But also, Finnish politicians don't do that much with country brand. So we work in the foreign ministry, so obviously that's the most important ministry, and we know the thinking there. We know what's going on with our foreign minister, for example. So we would know that that's for example, not an issue. But also with Finland, we have quite a good governance is one of our strengths. You can look it up in the brand finance study. But we have a lot of work that is done by civil servants, and if it's based on the best possible research, the data available, and so on, it usually goes down quite well. So again, we are not a nation of people who try and spin things or try and come up with ideas that aren't really true to what's actually there. So that also makes it a lot easier. Hello.
Brand Finance has been organising soft power summits in London for 8 years. Two of the best speakers we've had over that time are Sanna Marin and Alex Stubb. Both extremely charismatic, good talkers, and are very homed in on the whole brand argument. Do you give them training or do they just buy it? And secondly, Alex Stubb is one of the most charismatic leaders in the world. Do you think he could do more to present? If you take someone like Trump, he seems to think he's a representative for America. He's like the spokesperson and he's out all the time. Alex Stubb was extremely articulate and opinionated when he spoke with us, but he seems to be quieter now that he's in charge rather than more vocal. Can you comment on, without getting political, could you comment on that?
To your first question, we don't really train anyone on anything. Obviously, we provide, for example, when Sanna Marin was Prime Minister, we would provide the cabinet with certain topics or talking points. For example, our current Foreign Minister, Elina Valtonen, right now will say that, I would like to talk about this topic and what do you feel would be important from a country brand point of view and so on. But Alexander Stubb is the person who's schooling all of us. So obviously he's just so good at public speaking in all possible languages and coming up with the country brand points, always remembering to mention sauna or mention something else Finnish. I was recently watching his press conference with President Macron, and when he was explaining some winter sport that I can't even name in English, in French, at that press conference, I just felt really lucky to be doing brand work for Finland. So there it's definitely more luck when it comes to country brand, but we are extremely happy to have him. In terms of whether or not he should be more of a spokesperson or outspoken representative of some issues, that's such a political question that I can't really assess what the smart thing to do there is. But we're definitely at the public diplomacy unit where I work, we're very happy to have him.
So how it's financed? Is it financed by ministries, by the ministries, or Prime Minister, or the budget? Can you tell me more about that?
The budget for what we do at the Foreign Ministry, we don't do campaigns or promotion work. We do strategy, we do research, we do concepts that everyone can use. We do, for example, the video, that type of thing that everyone can use for whatever sector they're working in. We also work a lot with the Finnish Embassy Network, so we provide materials for the embassies, speaking points for the embassies, different sort of campaign-like elements for embassies to use. That's mainly what we do. So our budget comes from the Foreign Ministry, but it's been decided within the system that that's where all of the funds for the Finland Promotion Board are allocated. And then the different organizations within the Promotion Board will then have their own budgets to do the sector-specific work, like Visit Finland or Study in Finland, and so on. One more question.
This is the first presentation I've seen on Finland that mentioned of Nokia.
I can mention Nokia if you want. Sure. I mean, that's Nokia would be obviously one of our biggest consumer brands, probably the biggest one. Obviously not that big or popular at the moment as it was years ago. Then there are ones that have, like, for example, Angry Birds, which was everyone's favorite, at least for a moment. Not many people knew that that came from Finland. In the video, you saw the Oura ring, the smart ring. How many of you knew that that comes from Finland? Yeah, so we have, are you Finnish? So yeah, we do have some big consumer brands in certain sectors, but people are not that aware of them being Finnish. And that's also one thing that we will be tackling more now that we have the new strategy, how to work with brands a bit better. And we are always looking to Sweden and how excellently they are doing brand cooperation, and how the Swedish brands are really a motor for Brand Sweden altogether. So yeah, working on that. Long live Nokia. Yeah, good. Okay, thanks so much. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you.